What if I told you that one of the greatest scientific ideas in human history was undiscovered in the 20th century, but over 1,100 years ago by a Muslim scholar? A theory that completely changed how we understand time, space, motion, and reality itself. A theory the modern world credits to Albert Einstein. But long before Einstein, there was Al-Kindi. So who was Al-Kindi? His full name was Abu Yusuf ibn Ishaq al-Kindi. Born in Kufa in the year 796, he was a brilliant Muslim philosopher, scientist, mathematician, and physicist. In the West, he's known as Al-Kindis. But in the Islamic world, he is honored as the philosopher of the Arabs. Al-Kindi lived during the golden age of Islamic civilization, a time when Muslims were the world's leaders in knowledge, science, and groundbreaking thought. This is where it gets incredible. Centuries before modern physics, Al-Kindi proposed a revolutionary idea. He stated that human beings are relative and limited, and that space, time, motion, and matter are not absolute constants. He explained that time only exists because motion exists. Motion exists because physical bodies exist. Bodies cannot exist without motion. And fascinatingly, none of these can exist independently of the others. In simple terms, what Al-Kindi was saying is that time, space, motion, and objects are all deeply connected. None of them can stand alone. Their very existence depends on one another, and crucially, on the person observing them. This is the fundamental core idea of relativity. Does that sound familiar? Now, let's fast forward to the 20th century. Albert Einstein famously declared, "Existences in this universe are limited, even though existence itself has no limit." Einstein's theory of relativity explains that time can slow down, space can bend, motion changes reality, and our observations depend on our frame of reference. Of course, the mathematics were far more advanced. The experiments were more detailed, and the proofs were tested scientifically, sometimes with tragic consequences like the events of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the foundational idea, the conceptual framework, was already there, articulated more than 1,000 years earlier. Let that sink in for a moment. Einstein lived in the 1900s. Al-Kindi lived in the 700s. That is a staggering gap of over 1,100 years. The theory of relativity, which shocked the modern world, had already been conceptually laid out by a Muslim scholar guided by reason, philosophy, and revelation. What is even more astonishing is that this concept of relative time and space was already mentioned in the Quran. Allah says, "Indeed, a day with Allah is like 1,000 years according to your calculation." And again, in another chapter, He manages all affairs from the heavens to the earth. Then they ascend to Him in a day whose measure is 1,000 years by your reckoning. The message is clear. Time is not absolute. Time is relative. This is exactly what modern physics took centuries to discover. This brings us to a very important question. Why do we so rarely hear about Al-Kindi? Why is Einstein a household name, while the monumental contributions of Muslim scholars are often forgotten or overlooked? Not because Muslims lacked knowledge. It's because somewhere along the way, we stopped preserving, building upon, and honoring our own intellectual heritage. Islam once led the world in science, in philosophy, in mathematics, in physics, and in civilization. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's historical fact. So, as we reflect on this, we have to ask ourselves, are we not proud of this incredible legacy? Shouldn't this motivate us to reclaim our place at the forefront of discovery? Are we not responsible for reviving the pursuit of knowledge for the sake of Allah? The story of Al-Kindi is not just a piece of history, it's a powerful wake-up call. It proves that Islam is not against science. In fact, Islam gave birth to the scientific method as we know it. In the future, it can belong to us again if we return to a path of knowledge, faith, and purpose. If this story inspired you, please share it with others. Reflect on its meaning, and let it be a reminder to all of us that the light of Islam once illuminated the entire world. And with Allah's permission, it can do so again. Thank you for watching.